All right. Well, good morning. Happy Friday, everyone. Thanks so much for being on today's Producers Club. Can't believe it's already June 26th. Halfway through the summer already, in my opinion. I mean, just around the corner. Next week is already
Right.
Fourth
4th of July.
4th of July. Any
Yeah.
plans for 4th of July?
Yeah, we'll go out to Palm Springs.
Okay.
We have two German Shepherds,
Nice.
and the fireworks are too loud here in
That's right.
LA, so
Yeah.
we have to go out there.
Fantastic. I hear you. Well, thanks again. I want to introduce my guest speaker, Mr. Mark Hearn. How are you, sir?
Good.
Awesome, awesome.
Thank you
Hey,
for having me.
you're pushing 40 years in real estate. I did a little
Yeah.
research on you, and I realized, holy moly,
Yeah.
40 years in the industry back in 87. Tell us a little bit about you, Mark, as we segue through the session.
Well, so I got my license in 86,
86, okay.
and I couldn't really couldn't really afford to go on commission. So then a friend of mine was making a lot of money doing appraisals.
Okay.
So I said, well, let's try that.
So that same year you got your appraisal
Yeah,
license?
yeah. No, that was before I started before licensing
Okay.
came into force. I started with home savings,
Oh my
which
God. Now we're going way back.
yeah. So we can list all the lenders that are no longer in business that I've worked for.
True.
I-
Washington
Washington Mutual, Home
Washington
State.
Mutual was one of them. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what interests you into real estate and doing appraisals?
It was right after college. I actually got a job with Cushman Wakefield
Okay.
in Texas, um, but it was right before the oil crisis hit. So they rescinded the job offer. I said, okay, well, I'll just go to LA and see
Oh,
what.
so you were not in California at the time.
I was in Northern California.
Got it.
I just graduated from college, and I was trying to figure out where I wanted to land.
Got it. So what did you do before real estate? Were you just in school and then all of a sudden got into real estate?
Actually, after college, I came down to LA, and I was in theater.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh God. I
Fury minds want to know.
I made the mistake of watching American Ballet Theater my senior year in college.
Okay.
And I said, you know what? I bet I could do that. And little did I know that they had trained for 15 years to make it look like anybody could do
Right,
it.
right.
So I moved down here and I started studying ballet and jazz. And in 2 years, I was working professionally as a dancer.
Amazing.
I was doing theater, commercials, movies, and anything that they would pay me for.
Yeah. How cool is that?
Yeah, so I did that for about 10 years, and then my all my college roommates and friends from high school were getting married and becoming adults, and I
Yeah.
figured, well, maybe I better get a real job. So I went back to real estate, and
Yeah.
that's been there ever since.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. That's awesome. You definitely have two different titles, right? As a real estate professional, commercial agent,
Right.
but also you're more heavy into appraisals.
Well, so I worked up until 86 to 2004 till the wheels came off at Washington Mutual. In 2004, they laid everybody off, and I started my own company. And prior to the crash, 2007, I had a 10-person office. I had office manager. In fact, we were so busy that we were named in a class action lawsuit.
Oh, really?
For overcharging on foreclosure services.
Mm.
And which I was excused from the lawsuit, but because, the lender set the prices. But we were doing so many foreclosure appraisals up in 2007 that I was named with Countrywide, B of A, Wells Fargo.
Well, that was during the era of the crisis,
Yeah,
2008, when
yeah,
all of the
right.
mortgages basically shut down, and that's when we saw a spiral effect of real estate go down.
So we came to work one day, and our clients, the phones were dead. They weren't calling. You couldn't reach anybody on
Yeah.
on the deals that we were doing. So
Wow.
it was pretty night and day.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Wow. So, and I think for the people on the call, I think it's very, very important because I hear it quite often is being that you're a profession in evaluating homes,
Yeah.
how important is that for real estate professionals to understand comparables and walk us through kind of a process on the mindset of how you see things through your eyes?
Sure, sure. I mean, you know, mo the longer I'm in this business, the more I realize we are basically trusted advisors.
Mm,
We're the closest thing to an advisor,
yeah,
that somebody has for their home, their business, because they're busy with their life, and
sure.
they can't keep up on the statistics or the market trends. So it's really our job to keep our finger on the pulse of the market, and where it's going, or when it's an opportunity, and when people should hold off, etc.
Right.
So that's kind of the first thing that I do when I accept an order is I'll look at the property, find out, is this a kind of a mainstream product, or is it a white elephant, or is it a mansion?
Yeah.
What are we dealing with, first of all?
Right.
And then you have to look at it within context of its 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 uh its sub market, and then the broader market. I
Mhm.
mean, if you're a coastal property, then that's a different market than if you're on the other side of the 405.
Right.
So the good news is that I have not seen any declining markets in Southern California in the last year,
Okay.
in the work that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, because for a lot of agents, they use different types of platforms to analyze properties. What is your go-to platform?
MLS.
MLS.
Yeah, you have
Okay.
to rely on the MLS, because that's um, the problem with coming up with a value is that you've got there's a great cartoon where the homeowner, his version of the house is a mansion, and the lender's version is a shack, and the
Yeah.
appraiser's version is kind of a mix between that.
Right.
The realtor's version is it's got money in it.
Right.
So first of all, the homeowner or everybody's looking at Zillow,
Correct.
which is just a computer-driven algorithm.
Right.
And we don't know what goes into that algorithm. So it's a point in time, or it's a value point in
Right.
time. But it's quite visible.
Well, I think it kind of helps, right? It gives you kind of a broader perspective, right? Not necessarily that you're going to utilize it,
Right.
but it gives you kind of a range so you can kind of paint the picture and explain it, but you still have to go deeper into it, correct?
In reality, it's a talking point, is all it
Yeah.
is. Because a lot of times the public records doesn't match with what the property is now. They
Right.
may have done an addition, they may have done a complete remodel.
Right.
So it may reflect that, it may not.
Right.
But it gives you an opportunity. Okay, well, let's talk about your house and what does Zillow say? And then now this is what, what the comps that I believe are, representative of your property, or more importantly, what a buyer is looking at. Because, bottom line, value is what a willing seller and buyer agree on. It has nothing to do with the appraiser, and it has nothing to do with the agent.
Right.
It's between the principals, whatever they agree on.
Sure.
Now we hopefully we know enough about the market that we can accurately guide both buyer and seller to a fair market value.
Right. Right.
So
So, give us kind of a scenario here when you get an order, as an example. You start doing your little research, right?
right.
But ultimately, you physically go look at the location, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I noticed that appraisals measure the property. Is that something that you do as well?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. And why do you do that?
Um, First of all, it's required by the lender.
Okay. Well, and the reason I say that, right, because we can be on a computer and it'll say a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 1,475 square feet
Yeah.
on a 5,500 lot, right?
Right.
But why do appraisals do that?
Well, the public records, in the 40 years that I've been doing it, I'm going to say public records matches what's actually on the property, maybe 80% of the time. Either they haven't updated records when there's additions.
Right.
They may have included open space that really isn't livable space. There may be, ADUs on the property.
That's
now.
right.
So basically, the appraiser is kind of the boots on the ground for the lender, the borrower, and of all the variables in real estate, the size of the property and the improvements is pretty much a given.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Whether there's permits on it or not, that's another reason that we measure is we go out and we verify what's actually there,
Right.
and then how does that relate to what public record says? How does it relate to what permits are on file? And then, eventually, how does that affect value? You can have an unpermitted addition, that, let's take a sunroom or an enclosed patio.
Yeah.
It's not part of the square footage on a house, but a buyer might really value that. Say, hey, I can put my stationary bike out there. We can use it as a gym, or so there is value in it.
Correct.
It's just that, it may not sync with what public record says, or et cetera.
Got it.
So
Got it.
That's
Now, do you incorporate that as part of the square footage, or you take that out?
no,
But you put some information on the report, right?
right. Again, observe and report. That's what we do.
Mm.
And we say everything is there, everything that we can see. And then how it affects value is dependent on the market.
Right.
For instance, when ADUs first started being built,
Yeah.
there was no data to really support
That's right.
how much they were worth.
Right.
Now, there's a good $150,000 bump, but it costs a lot to build an ADU
Sure.
from scratch. But if it's a garage conversion, it might be a little different.
Right.
So, we observe, report, find out what actually is on the property, and then try and assign a market value through demonstrated examples. Another home that had an ADU, another home that had an enclosed patio, etc.
Right. Got it.
Okay.
So when evaluating, because all of us have our different way and style, right? Because I can get three independent appraisals on a subject property, right?
Yeah.
And guess what's going to happen? I'm going to get three different evaluations.
You could.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be spot on, right?
Right.
What your opinion of value,
Yeah.
what my opinion of value in a third person, right?
Yeah.
So in essence, what is the core that you look for, right? Is it just close deals in the last 6 months, 90 days?
So it depends on the property. 6 months uh, sale date and then a mile radius is kind of the preferred lender guidelines.
Yeah.
Okay. If there's anything unique about the property, then kind of you got to expand your radius or your criteria,
Right.
because you want the guiding principle is you want to compare apples to apples.
Right.
You don't want to have a 5-bedroom, 3-bath house compared to a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house.
Correct.
They're not the same. It's you want to look at it from a buyer's perspective. What would a buyer look for?
Sure.
And if he's got 5 kids, he needs a big house. He's not gonna consider a 2-bedroom house.
Right.
So that's kind of the driving force. Um, you know, again, I was just talking to somebody yesterday where I would rather go back in time in a certain neighborhood than to go out to different communities and try and compare that way. So you can expand the parameters of distance, you can expand the parameters of time, provided you are matching apples to apples or similar product type.
So tell us a little bit more, apples to apples. You mean that you cannot have a single family residence and use a comp that's a condominium or a townhome,
Right,
as an
exactly.
example, right?
Exactly.
And for the most part, most communities have cookie cutter homes, right? So within that 1 mile radius, you should be able to find activity.
Yeah, yeah, and luckily it's been a fairly active market.
Yeah.
It's slowing down a little bit right now. We're running out of inventory. Um, um, Orange County is screaming. Their prices are going up, but the inventory is coming down. So it's gonna get tight,
Yeah.
and you might have trouble finding comps in the neighborhood.
Right.
So you need to be creative.
Think outside the box.
As a realtor, you again, you come in and you present to the seller, hey, this is what the buyers are looking for. This is, they love your type of property. And here's some examples of similar properties in your neighborhood that have sold.
Right.
That's really the truth of value.
Right.
Is, what's a buyer willing to pay for it?
Right. Right.
And regardless of how much money the seller put into it, how long they've been in the house,
Sure.
how many memories are there, those are all esoteric qualities that they have attached to the property. You, as the trusted advisor, have to kind of get it down to the nuts and bolts.
Love that.
Hey,
Yeah.
look, your house is only so big. It's not a 5-bedroom mansion. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. There's a lot of other 3-bedroom, 2-baths in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's your competition. That's the market that we have to appeal to.
Got it. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
I like how you put it in perspective. Toughest appraisal you've done that
Wow.
it's like, oh wow, what did I get myself into?
Yeah.
You probably have many, but
Right.
give us
Right.
one that is like this was a pretty tough appraisal.
Well, so the first one that comes to mind was oh God, it was a 7-acre property in Malibu on on the bluff, not on the beach, but on the bluff.
Yeah.
Above Malibu Road. And they were in the process of completely gutting an 8,000 square foot house. So they wanted me to appraise the guest house.
Just a guest house.
Just the guest house.
Okay.
And I said, okay. And that was a 4,000 square foot house.
Oh, so it wasn't a small guest house.
No, not at all. So, so first of all, to figure out what I was appraising. And then second of all, it did have a kitchen, but it was really designed as, hey, let's go relax there, kind of like a recreation room.
Got it.
So that was challenging. I've done historic homes. You've got a 1912 Craftsman in Angelino Heights, and they're not making those anymore.
Well, that's a different view and perspective, and I think a season experience appraisal is key. Is key on those because they understand the elements of a very unique property where just an appraisal that goes out there, they go back to the apples to apples, right? And I've seen situations, you and I have been in that situation.
That's right.
And you've been able to overcome and help the consumers.
Well, again, it's if you let's say you take your car in to get serviced. You want somebody that knows every intricacy of that car and that model and that brand, so that they don't mess it up, or that they can fix the problem.
Sure.
And with real estate, there is a lot of intricacy. There's nuance. There's neighborhood differences.
Right.
You can be on one side of Hawthorne Boulevard and the other side. You can be on the coast with a view of the ocean, or you don't have a view of the ocean. So
right.
These are significant factors that influence value, that our job as real estate professionals is to recognize and to help the consumer or the seller reap the benefit of that factor.
Sure.
So it's like anything. When you get down to the details, then it works. Then you can really figure out the problem.
Right.
If you just look at it from a general perspective, well, that's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in Wilmington or wherever.
Sure.
Yeah, you may not reflect the true value.
Yeah. I get this quite often, Mark, and maybe you can put some perspective to it. Property is located within multiple cities. Property is in one city, but one street over is one city.
Oh, yeah.
And the other side of the street is another city.
Well, look at Torrance Unincorporated.
Yeah. I'm thinking like Lawndale as an example. You got Redondo, you got Torrance, and you have Lawndale, right? If the property is, let's just say, theoretically, in the city of Lawndale,
right?
Can you do evaluations and kind of jump over and get costs? Because a mile radius will ultimately go to another city, right?
You're into
so for the audience that have those type of situations, your thoughts and your opinion, is it something that you can utilize comps for other cities within that mile radius?
You can, but it boils down to what's a buyer willing to pay,
right?
What's a willing buyer and seller willing to agree at, and you want to stay in the city. If it's unique, let's say it's got an ADU or 2 ADUs.
Yeah.
I got a deal just the other day. It's really a triplex.
Yeah.
But the ownership is single family. The county land use is single family, with 2 ADUs. Well, there are none in Fullerton.
Right.
So you're going to have to go to other communities. You're going to have to kind of do an analysis. Hey, look, does the average home in Fullerton, the average home price in Fullerton, how does that relate to the average home price in Brea or
Sure.
a surrounding community?
Yeah.
So you want to look at it that way. I mean, there's a big difference between Lawndale and Redondo Beach in terms
100%.
of dollar per square foot, in
Right.
terms of average home sale price,
Schools.
schools, even within cities, the differing school district can have an effect.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you can do it, but you gotta have a reason to do it, and you have to explain yourself.
Right.
You know,
And I think that's the key, right? And just knowing how to explain it, right? Because once the lender evaluates it, right, they're going to ask questions, right? Especially the underwriter.
yeah,
So I think painting the picture and explaining it in details will help.
yeah, yeah. No, that's so. I was an econ major in college because I didn't like to write. I didn't want to spend my time with a lot of writing, and economics was more numbers.
Right.
Well, all I do is write now. I look at the property, I come home and I write, type it up.
Yeah.
It has this, it has this. This is why I did this. So,
Right. So now with technology, especially AI, Mark, um, has that enhanced your position? And tell us a little bit more. Are you using AI in your business?
so two things. If we're not using the tools that are now available to help us do our job, we're not doing our job.
Right.
I spend 2 to 4 hours a day on AI, learning about AI, working with AI, and trying to incorporate it in my business.
Right.
In the 40 years I've been at this, the only constant is change, and you can't fear it, you can't resist it, you just have to learn how to manage it.
Right.
And it's such a powerful tool now. So for instance, with the writing, it writes much better than I do. But you do have to cross check, you do
Sure.
have to, verify, and
Right.
you can set guardrails on the output.
Right.
But I use it every day. I've built an app that will take a property address, look at either the radius or the zip code. It'll chart what the average is, the bell curve for sale price, dollar per square foot, and then it will give me an indication. It's like a Zillow. It'll give me an indication of where that property lies within the context of that zip code or that radius.
All just putting in the address.
Seconds. It takes seconds.
Pretty interesting.
I mean, it's the same thing I would do normally, but instead of an hour, it takes a couple seconds. It's just an input. So that helps me to focus on other aspects of the report.
Interesting. Yeah, good to know. I mean, this is awesome.
Oh,
Awesome, because it gives you more efficiency, faster process,
yep.
and it provides these beautiful reports.
So Demis Habibus.
Oh yeah.
He wrote the AI DeepSeek that was then purchased by Google.
Yeah.
Then he went on to win the Nobel Peace Prize for innovations in biology. His perspective on AI is that it will allow us to have AI do the more mundane things so that we as humans can increase our ability to interact with our clients or the human factor
Right.
in our business, which, if you look at it that way, then it's a very powerful tool.
Right.
If you think it's going to take away your job or take away that human element, then first of all, that's fantasy. Second of all, it's not a very positive way to wake up every morning.
Yeah, no, good point. Good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Well, we've come to the end of our session. Can you believe how quick this was?
Yeah. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. No, but I think you had some great key points, and how can someone reach you?
Hearnquality.com is my website. Um, I'm also at the South Bay office here.
Yeah.
Anytime, just call the front desk.
I love that. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
What's one key advice that you can give the audience?
Well, change is a constant.
Yeah.
Just really focus on increasing your human interaction with your clients. I mean, I think that's the best service we can offer.
Yeah.
Is, hey, look, I put my pants on the same way you do every morning, or
Right.
whatever you put on, and just be human with them.
Love that. Awesome. Well, Mark, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time and giving us an insight in the many years of experience. And yeah, if any of you like to reach out and ask Mark any questions, he is part of the South Bay office.
Yep.
So awesome. Cool. Thanks, everyone. Happy Friday and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, Mark and Simon.
Thank you both. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Cool. All right.
All right. That was fun.
Yeah, that was.